Manufactured in Korea, Novatron's CocktailAudio X45 is a high-resolution audio player and DAC housed in an all-metal chassis packed with audiophile features. Available in both black and silver, the front panel is CNC cut aluminum that is 13 mm thick. The X45's front panel includes selection and scroll knob with input, return, stop, and menu controls, a 7-inch 1024 by 600 pixel LCD display, a slot load CD player that's also capable of writing your own audio CDs. Auxiliary and USB inputs are available next to the headphone jack, and finally the power button and volume knob. The remote is dense with options and it effectively provides full control of the X45. It's very lightweight but lacks a backlight. Moving on to the back panel, we see the X45 is laser focused on providing only the essential features of audiophile 2-channel playback and recording. There are extremely high quality, balanced and unbalanced outputs for your amplifier. It needs to be mentioned that the X45 does not include an integrated amplifier, leaving you the freedom to choose your own power. The X45 provides digital inputs and outputs, plus USB, so you may provide your own DAC or stream high-resolution audio from a PC. Looking at the back of my unit, my needs are simple. Balanced outputs to a set of Nord monoblock amplifiers, phono input from the Fluence RT85 turntable, an optical cable from the TV in case I were to need that. In a moment I will cover how I use the SSD drive in the storage bay for local music. The X45 provides an HDMI ARC so you may not only navigate the interface on your TV screen, but also receive the audio signal from the TV, allowing you to hear whatever content you are watching. Inside, it is equipped with a dual-core ARM Cortex-A9 processor running at 1 GHz. Isolated power source circuit design for digital and analog parts. It has dual ESS ES9018K2M Sabre reference DAC chips built in separately for right and left channels. The slot load CD player is a common laptop drive and is fairly noisy. The LG DVD multi-writer can be found at Newegg for around $50 in case it breaks. The CocktailAudio X45 comes with a few things in the box. The remote has a nice fabric sleeve you can store it in, an FM radio antenna, mounting screws for both 3.5 and 2.5 inch hard drives, batteries for the remote, the free DB CD in case you don't have access to the internet and wish to rip your CD collection. The CocktailAudio devices come with plenty of manuals with illustrations of the menus and navigation. I honestly haven't seen any products that include so many instructions in such great detail. The main user manual is a whopping 134 pages with illustrations throughout. All of this documentation and free DB files are available to download directly from Novatron's website. Upon powering on the X45 for the first time, I was a bit put off by the cocktail glass splash screen. I won't bore you with the setup wizard because it's just the means of connecting to the internet. When I first set up the X45, I was stumped as to why I couldn't connect to my Wi-Fi. It turns out, this $2,500 music streamer has no built-in Wi-Fi like most components do. Looking through the manual, there is a brief mention that a USB antenna must be purchased separately and it must strictly adhere to the specs given. Novatron does not sell a compatible Wi-Fi USB dongle, and I had to go through 3 different ones till I found a very specific kind that worked. It can simply be installed in any USB port and the device will detect it. I was going to link this in the description, but it had already disappeared from Amazon. Once it was detected, I simply went into Setup and entered my network credentials. To answer the obvious question, no, I don't have a hardwired connection in this room. As you can see, wireless setup is now available. Once your internet is connected, you are typically met with the Music DB option. With no music yet on the X45, it won't do anything. You can, however, stream your music collection directly from your network share or UPnP server. If you have a typical network share, you can just enter your credentials. However, I found a great little program called Minim Server. It's a UPnP server that supports all audio formats, and I installed it on my media server elsewhere in the house. It scans all the tags and displays the entire contents of music, making it easy to stream from anywhere in your home. Having access to my music over the network is all dandy, but the CocktailAudio X45 has a really nice graphical option, and that's only accessible when music is located locally. Local music can be stored on any USB drive or internal hard drive, and I will show you how I set up mine using an SSD. The CocktailAudio X45 has the most diverse, high-resolution audio support I have found in a single device in this price range. Right out of the box, it supports every major high-resolution format you can imagine. These files can be obtained from websites like HD Tracks, Cowbuzz, Pro Studio Masters, Native DSD, many others, and even your own source. There's also online music services, and I'll briefly cover those later in this video. To get my music on the X45, I have to start at the PC and run the files through a program called MP3 Tag. This utility will set all the metadata within the file so the X45 can scan and organize the music into its database properly. MP3 Tag has been around a long time and has since been updated to support all the major audio formats capable of containing metadata. My personal audio collection consists of mostly 24-bit, 96 kHz or greater FLAC files, DSD files, which are stored in the DSF container, and lossless CD audio rips. I have a large collection of MP3 files that are slowly getting upgraded over time. To begin, in the right column of Windows Explorer is my high-resolution audio collection stored on the media server. Here, I'll just randomly select an album and right-click on it. In the Windows shell will be MP3 Tag, and once selected, the entire album will load into MP3 Tag. The most important metadata entries are all displayed right here. Each track should be correctly labeled with album art no greater than 500 by 500 pixels. When album art is missing, you simply select all the tracks, then go grab the cover art off one of the online services shown here. If the file does not contain an album cover, the X45 will not pull that image from the file and display it on screen. The online services are loaded with crappy graphics, so it might take a moment or two to find the right one. Even if the music files have no metadata, you can still assign it all from within MP3 Tag. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the X45 is a very dumb device. Say you have a band with 10 albums, and just one of those albums has a single character wrong in the name. The X45 will think that's a different band and create 2 entries in its music database. So, what I do is select the entire catalog of that artist and make sure that the names are consistent across all albums. An MP3 Tag can fix them all in one swoop. When all the tracks have been imported, I can verify all the metadata at once. You can see the file formats here. The program supports them all. The left column will show what's consistent in all the tracks once they're selected. This is where you want to be certain all albums have the same exact band name with no errors. Once any corrections are made, save the changes, and MP3 Tag will rewrite all the metadata with the new info. In case you're wondering, none of the files are re-encoded or altered in any way. Metadata is stored in nearly all file types, and nothing interferes with the integrity of the music data. Once changes are saved, it's either time to move on to the next artist or take a break and get some ice cream. To learn more about MP3 Tag, please visit their website. With that out of the way, it's time to prepare the music drive on that SSD I showed you earlier, shown in the left column. The CocktailAudio devices will only scan files from a folder called My Music on any given storage device. On the SSD drive, a My Music folder is created, and all the music is just copied right into it. After all the music was copied, I went ahead and created extra folders for various kinds of music files I did not want showing up in the music database. If you were to group everything in one folder, it would be a mess to sort through, and I only wanted certain artists showing up in my interface. I would rather manually browse to these certain folders, and the CocktailAudio makes that easy. Recycling some of the footage from my unboxing video, here is the process of removing the tray, installing the drive, and reinserting the tray. According to the manufacturer, you can use up to an 8 terabyte hard drive. And I would suggest an SSD since traditional drives can be loud. With the new music drive installed, the X45 takes a bit longer to boot up. It's definitely seeing the My Music folder and starting to import all the files automatically. Navigating to Setup, then MusicDB, we can monitor the scan status. When all is said and done, it takes about 90 minutes to import all the music. Except for standard navigation, I'll show the remote control and which buttons do what. The text art button goes from list view to album cover view. This way I can check if the artwork is correct. It's a good idea to scan through the library to be sure everything looks right. When browsing by artist, the MusicDB defaults to the first album by that artist as the default cover art. Things look good. When selecting the text art button again, it will cycle between 3, 2, and 1 rows back to list view. I find list view is a bit zippier when scrolling. Let's check out a random band and sample a track. I'm not going to play the previews due to potential copyright complaints. Pressing the info button will bring up the stats of the file. Here, you can see this track is DSD64. Pressing the return button on the remote will take you back one step until you reach the main menu. To browse tracks outside the MusicDB, navigate to the browser icon. If you recall, the last time we were in here, there was no HDD1. That's the SSD I just installed. Here are the folders exactly as I created them on the PC. And the My Music folder shown in blue. Now let's just play something from the HD Classical folder. I've sped up a lot of the navigation throughout this video to help save time. Again, pressing the info button tells me this file is 24-bit 192 kHz, and it does sound amazing. As does everything the CocktailAudio X45 plays. Going back to the main menu. Next, let's briefly look at the internet streaming services. Here we have the basic places most everyone uses. Amazon Music is not in HD, but Novatron told me they plan to have that working by Christmas of 2022. They are also trying to get Tidal Connect as well. Hopefully, a new firmware will be released this year with better quality streaming services. Just randomly selecting a track in Amazon Music, it appears to be 32-bit 44.1 kHz. I'm going to just shoot in the dark and play whatever I land on to see if any other streaming quality is available. Nope, all the same. I don't have a Tidal account, so I just created a free trial for the purpose of this video. I'm curious to see if the CocktailAudio X45 will handle the highest quality files available, since many of the devices I reviewed in the past failed to reach their advertised potential. Setting up Tidal on the X45 requires you enter your login info and to enable it. It's also important to set the stream quality. Once done, Tidal is now an option in the iService menu. To get Tidal working, you are forced to use their mobile app to complete the connection. The MusicX NEO app is found in your Android or Apple Store and is a full device controller. I will cover some of its features later. Selecting the 3 lines in the lower left corner brings up the major options of the X45, and selecting the internet service will show you what's available. Whether it be Tidal or whatever you subscribe to, you will need to log in. Unless there's a reset, this is a one-time thing. Seeing the way it's formatted can be infuriating. I believe this is where Tidal Connect comes in to save the day, according to Novatron, that is. All I want to do is find the highest quality audio the service has, but it's impossible here. I need to just randomly scroll and hope for the best. I know what content in my personal collection is 24-bit 96 kHz, but maybe it's the same here. Let's see if remastered David Bowie is high-res. It loaded quickly. Now let's hit that info button on the remote and see what it tells us. Nice! First pick, and it's 24-bit 192 kHz. It's also marked with a blue dot MQA. I accidentally struck gold with this one. Blue dot means it's a genuine original master recording, guaranteeing there is no other better quality version available at this time. Crap navigation aside, the X45 is delivering the goods so far. Another random search from Tidal's Masters list brings us some Fleetwood Mac with another blue dot verification. Whoever these shoe boys are, they're not certified, so get out of here. This is a green dot MQA, meaning it's not certified or not yet final. It's still only CD quality, so the MQA rating on CD audio is puzzling. As I flip around and rapid fire a bunch of tunes, I see a dramatic variance in what's available. Navigating the app is becoming frustrating as I cannot find anything greater than 24-bit 192 kHz. It's more out of curiosity since the Tidal Master Extraordinary Elitist subscription plan is supposed to offer that. I won't hear the difference, but I want to see it on the screen and if the X45 can do it. Instead of wasting more time, I cut over to the internet and try to Google what is the highest quality audio on Tidal, since I can't do that from the app. I found one I want to try before concluding this section of the video. I attempt to cut and paste it into the search, but a bunch of stuff shows up. So I flip back to see the album cover and find it in the list. It takes a moment to load and voila! 24-bit 352.8 kHz, and it's playing. Of course this is ridiculous and no one can tell the difference between this and the standard 24-bit 96 kHz, but it is pretty cool. Enough about internet streaming, let's rip a CD into the X45. Before any CDs are ripped, the decision must be made to use the free DB software or Spring for Grace Note. The X45 comes with a free 2-year license of Grace Note, which is far superior to free DB, and Grace Note provides cover art. Just go into Settings, License, and then activate them. This will only work with an internet connection. I'm going to have a moment of silence so you can hear the optical drive in action. Once the CD is read, press the rip button on the remote. The X45 gives you several ripping and encoding options. I chose FLAC. Now it will populate the metadata pulled from Grace Note. Here you have the opportunity to make changes before hitting OK. Ripping time takes about 1 minute per track when using lossless audio. The X45 is a capable CD player, but you may decide to rip first, listen later due to its noise level. Once ripped, your audio CD backup is encrypted. If you were to remove your storage drive, there is no way to copy, move, or delete the files it creates. Those functions are only possible from within the X45 interface. Trusting the X45 to automatically add this rip to the library, I'll navigate to where I hope it went since Grace Note determined all the metadata. And it worked perfectly. The album is exactly where it should be. Next, I'll demonstrate the playback and recording of an LP. I found this Star Wars record in a box I had stored away for nearly 30 years. It's been in my life for as long as I can remember. It's not something I would listen to today, but as a child I couldn't get enough of it. If you have something like this or even more rare in your collection, you may want to archive it. It's a little dirty right now. I won't go through the whole cleaning ceremony right now, but I do have a video planned soon comparing liquid cleaning to ultrasonic cleaning, so watch for that. I kept this record in pretty good shape, if I may say so myself. Let's sample a little bit, then record it. Playing a record is a simple matter of pressing the input button on the remote and scrolling down the phono in. That's it.
match those of a ship that blasted its way out, Mos Eisley.
They must be trying to return the stolen plans to the princess. She may yet be of some use to us.
Unlock 1, 5, 7, and 9 release chunks. 316 report to control.
To end the recording, you can press stop on the remote or just lift the tone arm. To play back what I just recorded, we need to back it up to the browser menu. Select HDD1, then scroll till we see the new folder called My Recording. There, a new folder is created called Phono In with an encrypted audio file.
We captured a freighter entering the remains of the Alderon system. Its markings match those of a ship that blasted its way out, Mos Eisley.
They must be trying to return the stolen plans to the princess. She may yet be of some use to us.
Unlock 1, 5, 7, and 9 release chunks.
While the file is still highlighted, press the menu button on the remote to open a set of tools. Here you can do several things like rename it, edit the meta tags, and move it to the My Music folder so it becomes a part of the collection and so on. One of the most unique features I've seen is the ability to edit your recording. You can call up the wave editor and splice or do whatever you want to the recording you just made.
We captured a freighter entering the remains of the Alderon system. Its markings match those of a ship that blasted its way out, Mos Eisley.
They must be trying to return the stolen plans to the princess.
That feature alone could take up an entire video. Before wrapping up this video, there's only a couple more things I want to go over. Here's an example of a Samsung tablet running the Android version of MusicX NEO. You've already seen the smartphone version previously in this video. Like I said, the app controls the entire X45 and it's fairly snappy when using it locally. I have to be careful with the audio clips, so I'll chop them off after a few seconds. Here you can also see how the TV mirrors the X45 via HDMI. Pressing the 3 lines in the lower left corner brings up all the standard settings found on the X45. Here you can access your local storage outside of the MusicDB, internet radio services, and so on. The CocktailAudio X45 is an embarrassment of riches hidden inside a superb sounding DAC. It's much more than just an all-encompassing audio player. It has so many features it could take hours to cover them all. I hope showing you how I use the device was helpful, and you gained a better grasp of its features and seeing them in action, rather than just reading about them. I absolutely love this device and think it's one of my best home audio investments. I plan to enjoy the X45 for years to come, and it will only get better through future firmware updates. If you are interested in getting the CocktailAudio X45 to elevate your listening experience, links are in the product description. Thanks for hanging out with me.